Welcome back to What Your Pastor Really Thinks. It's a unique podcast with pastors telling what they really think about faith, theology, culture, and today, summer church. Do we let out a church like school for the summer? How does this work? Are you new to Christianity or are you a pastor? What do you do in the summer, especially out here in Colorado? Pastor Ryan McBride, how you doing today, sir?
Doing great. Good to be back once again, fellas.
Catalyst Church, Canyon City. Where is that out in Colorado anyway? Where if we were going to throw in the rectangle, where are you?
Yeah, so if you went about 30 miles southwest of Colorado Springs, you'd run into us. So right on the edge of the mountains, Arkansas River runs right through Royal Gorge. Most people are more familiar with Royal Gorge, so I just say that. That's
Very
us.
cool. Very cool. Dr. Pastor Matt Wolf, Arise Church, Denver. Welcome to the podcast.
School's out for summer. That's what we're talking about today, right?
Absolutely. And you're there in the heart of Denver, right?
Yeah, just in the northeast part of the city.
Very cool.
Denver, yeah.
Pastor Drew Tarwater, Forefront Church, Denver as well. How you doing, sir?
I was getting ready to say, Matt, we should have that as like our theme song for this episode. You know, little Alice Cooper. But you did it justice. Nice work.
Dude, he's a believer now, so
yeah, he is.
Let's do it.
Let me check those licensing rights and see what we can do. But today, school's out, summertime, it's church out. Like Colorado is a popular place to go do things on the weekend. As a pastor, Ryan, like how do you, especially where you're at, it's a beautiful part by the gorge there. People are probably going camping every weekend. How do you do church over the summer and keep it going?
Yeah, I do think this is a unique challenge, particularly in Colorado, as you mentioned. I think churches and pastors probably all over the states deal with this. But here in Colorado, with close proximity to the mountains and lakes and rivers and camping and just all the stuff, right? Like, I think we have a unique challenge. I remember I had someone tell me really early on when we planted, he was like, hey, like, just so you know, like when you hit those summer months, you know, never quit on a Monday, right? Like when you show up, right? Because it's just, you see a real drop off in numbers. It's a thing. And I think that we've kind of found a way to address the issue. So what we do actually, we have two services. We actually drop down to one between Memorial Day and Labor Day. And it's just one big, massive service. We put more chairs out and it's great. But typically it's interesting. Our early service, I'd like to hear from you guys. Our earlier service at 9 a.m. during the rest of the year is like packed. And then our later service is significantly less people. And so what we do is we go just one service a little bit earlier, gives people plenty of time to come to church, get out and play. Of course, we do, our live stream, and then you can watch it back on YouTube. And so we have some ways where people can still, hop on and check in and do it. But one of the unique challenges, well, I don't know if it's unique. One thing that we see that's really interesting, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. Like we have people who, even if they're not out on vacation or playing at the lake, like we have some people who legit just take summers off as if it were like school. Like they're in town, they're just like, yeah, we're not coming for 3 months. And I'm like, that's really strange to me. I don't know if you guys see that. I'd love to hear from you, but that's kind of what we're talking about today. With that, I would also say, what are some creative ways? And so if you're a pastor watching this, maybe to think about, are there resources? Are there things that you can get in the hands of your people throughout the summer, especially with traveling sports, and baseball is a big one this time of year. And I don't even want to chase that rabbit hole. Maybe we will on this episode, who knows? But instead of just being upset about it, being frustrated by it, how can we leverage resources and get things in the hands of people so that they can stay connected in and they can have some sort of at least spiritual conversations at the campsite, at the ball field, in the dugout, whatever that looks like. So I'd love to talk about all that stuff, but that's kind of our direction today. So
absolutely, it's in business and in life, I'm sure some business guru or self-help book says, hey, every obstacle is an opportunity. So as you look at this obstacle, guys, where are the opportunities, Matt, as you're looking at summer church and, people taking 3 months off at church?
Yeah, there definitely are people that take 3 months. I don't know if I've had somebody bold enough to tell me that, Ryan, but I think I'm like, I know who those people are. But yeah, I mean, it really starts here in Colorado, like in May. So like we're already starting to see that, the summer slump most pastors talk about, attendance dropping somewhere between, for us, it's like 8 and 20%. And you just see that. I have to be like really deliberate, like especially going into the summer. Make sure you set up your automated giving, because we're still doing church even if you're not here. Like I'll joke about that, because I mean it's some of it is like good, because going on vacation, traveling, seeing family in the time when your kids are out of school, like is a great thing. Yeah. I'm going to be gone for a couple weeks this summer, and so are other people. So if you even just do the math on that, that explains some of the attendance drop. So yeah, you definitely don't want to make major decisions about the future of your church if you're a pastor, or quit because of summer numbers. And there, what I would say is like the opportunity is like, can we get something to keep people staying engaged? In the past, I've done like, hey, here's a guide for the summer, like a prayer guide to keep you connected spiritually wherever you are. I like doing like more connected series in the spring and fall. Like I'll go through an entire book of the Bible, but in the summer, I like to have series that are a little more, you can jump in and out. Like even if it's a series that's 4, 5, 6 weeks, I'm like, each message can stand alone. So if you miss one, you're going to be okay. But I really think it's crucial to stay connected. And so like, I just want to like talk a little bit about a research on this, because this is one of my biggest things is that successful people do consistently what other people do occasionally. Yep. I didn't make that up, but I totally believe it. The more consistent you are with good habits, the better your life is going to be. And church is one of the best habits. In fact, research has actually shown that. There was a 2016 at Harvard, and they looked at people over a 20-year span. And for people that just went to church regularly, like if you're a regular churchgoer, for the women, you're a third less likely to die, like decreases death rate by 33%. Everyone, men and women, are less likely to smoke, abuse drugs, alcohol. And overall, it's 13% less likely to die. So men, it just moves the needle a little bit, maybe more for women. And it's like this concept of like a keystone habit. I think we've talked about habits before on this podcast, but keystone habits are like, if you change this one habit, it actually affects so much more of your life. I often say like having dinner with your family is one of those keystone habits, because not only, does it mean you're eating together, but then you're talking together. So relationships get better. You're going to eat healthier because you're not just eating junk food throughout the night. And then everybody's going to bed a little earlier because we're all eating at the same time, not eating at 8 or 9 p.m. and feeling like you have to stay up later. So it affects everything in your life by changing one thing. And church is actually considered one of those keystone habits. Mm-hmm. One professor of epidemiology at Harvard said that because of that, regular church going means that religion may be a miracle drug. And that's a quote. Religion may be a miracle drug. Like your kids are going to have a higher GPA. People are going to be less likely to live in poverty, more likely to wear a seatbelt. How crazy is that? Like if you go to church, you're going to I'm going to take care of my body because God made it. And I'm the temple of the Holy Spirit. You're going to have more meaning in your life, less loneliness, bigger social network, more generous. You're more likely to volunteer your time, stronger marriages, even better sex. And you're also going to have less mental illness and more happiness. So if you think about that, like you're an idiot if you skip church all summer. I'm going to call that out. Like you're just stupid because you're hurting yourself, let alone making your pastor feel dumb and your friends at church like, where is that guy? What happened to him?
Hot take.
I know I'm going to church this weekend. I know.
Go to church.
So, Pastor Drew, is this the reason why you do your summer survey? Is like, hey, this is when you're going to see how happy people are. It's like, hey, there's about 25% less people. Those are probably the angry people. Not doing the survey in the summer for the people that come to church.
Yeah, I like to wait till December when people are just excited about Christmas. That's my good survey month. If to our listeners, if you're a pastor, especially if you're new to the Rocky Mountains. I mean, this was something I learned the hard way. People, like Ryan said earlier, they would tell you, hey, watch out. But that first June, when I got to Denver, I thought, man, what did I do wrong? Where did everybody go? And then I then forgot about it. And so the next June, and it took me like 5 Junes to realize, man, this is just, I know, seriously, I'm a slow learner, late adopter. I mean, just the reality is we live in, God's playground. So hiking, camping, I mean, people camp like crazy.
Yeah.
And so, it's 20% clear, for us that just gets really out of rhythm. And I think if you're a pastor listening to this, one of the mistakes I made was I thought to try to engage our church in June, let's do a bunch of stuff, right? Let's have a sports camp and let's have a summer serve project. And man, I tell you what, I was so discouraged because people just didn't show up to stuff. Yeah. And I realized 2 things. One, Saturdays are sacred. So if you're living in Colorado and you try to do something on a Saturday, occasionally it's okay. I mean, I'm sure if you're in other parts of the Front Range, the same way. Occasionally it's okay, but if you try to do something regularly on Saturday morning, people that's their mountain day, or that's their catch-up day. And then also I learned that just giving people some time. So we shifted all of our action, like VBS and camps and summer serve opportunities. We moved it all to July. We even moved our like outreach events, like movie night, community event. We'll still do like a summer picnic for the church family, but we moved everything to July and August because I think there's just this throttle down. Summer's here, let's go. And people just disappear. Speaking to the churchgoer, though, I would 100% agree with what Matt just said, that when you get out of rhythm, you put yourself at great risk because it doesn't take, we've talked in the past, it takes 66 days on average to make a new habit. Man, it can take 2 weeks to fall out of a rhythm.
I have actually noticed, like, if you miss 3 weeks of church in a row, it's so hard to get back in. It's that right. For some reason, that 3rd week is like throws everything off.
Yeah. And so you go on a couple week vacation, you take a week off, you go camping. Next thing you know, a kid's sick. Boom, you're completely out of rhythm. So we have this little phrase we use. We are, as a church, we want you to be here when you're home and when you're healthy. And so, like, if you're, and by the way, if you're not home very often, probably should be home a little more. I don't really need to camp every weekend. So, but as a pastor, I think you just have to figure out what rhythms work for your church. So where Ryan's at in Canyon City, it's going to be a different feel than where we are in Southwest Denver. Matt's in Northeast Denver. Where we are, people can hop in their car and they're at Breck or they're at Keystone in an hour. Right? They're camping at Rocky Mountain National Park in 2 hours, where people in Ryan's neck of the woods, I mean, you guys live in God's glory, right? Yeah. And so I think you just got to figure out. So if you're a pastor listening to this and you're in Cheyenne or you're down in Colorado Springs or somewhere else, your rhythm's gonna be a little different than ours. But I just think you got to give people space to pause, but at the same time, still call them to more, still call them to not fall out of rhythms.
Yeah. Speaking of like pauses, what about like just taking a complete Sunday off? Like I know some churches that they take the 4th of July off. They take the Sunday after Christmas just completely off. Ryan, when you think of like, what about that as a solution for summer? Like if just taking a Sunday off, giving the staff and the volunteers just a weekend where they don't have to serve.
Yeah. So we don't typically do that in the summer months. We actually do that the Sunday, whatever Sunday is immediately following our Christmas Eve service at the end of the year before the new year. That's kind of when we take a Sunday off and we just say, hey, this is so we can love it's been a long year. It's been a great year. We're going into a new year. Want to love our volunteers, want to love our people well. We just did 2 services within the last, 4 days or however it works out on the calendar. So we're going to take this off. We'll be back in the new year with a new series. So that's what we do. In the summer, we have kind of a really cool opportunity and unique things happening. So early May, we have our big annual, it's called the Blossom Festival here in Canyon City. Big deal. There's marching band competitions and a parade. And so there's schools from 30 something different locations that come to town. It's a big deal. And we've actually been invited in by the city to do church at Blossom. And so we're there in the main park where everybody's at on Sunday mornings doing church out in the public. So we're not in our regular location for Blossom. Likewise, we have an opportunity in July. We have a big Whitewater festival. Arkansas River runs right through the middle of town, and they got a big Whitewater feature right there at the park. And so they do a big 2-day Whitewater festival. And so what we did actually year one, so we've been doing this 9 years now, is we offer to go in, after 2 days of beer garden and, all the stuff in the park is just trashed. And so what we said is, hey, let us come in on Sunday morning with all of our people. We show up, we clean up the park. So it's a serve opportunity. And with that many people, it takes, no time at all to clean up the park. And in return, they leave their main stage up there at the park. So we also do church at Whitewater. So we're out in the park doing church out in the public a couple times. Those would be the only 2 times that we're not at our normal location throughout the summer months. Also, what we started doing several years ago on Labor Day weekend, because that's like the last ditch effort for a lot of families to go camping, to go play in the mountains. So we do what we call Labor of Love Sunday, where we don't have a service, and in its place, we encourage people to go do service. So find a way to serve. Go find a service project in your neighborhood, at the school. Get your family together, get your small group together, get your friends together. Go find a way to serve for that hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, in place of coming here to church. And so that would be another time that we don't have a regular service at our normal location. But as far as just taking a Sunday off, just because it's summer and we know people aren't going to be there, we don't do that. Part of the reason we drop down to one service in the summer months to try to help with that a little bit. So that's kind of what we do. Not everybody has those opportunities, although I would say to pastors, man, the more you can be invited in by your city government to do church in your local community, wherever that looks like. I mean, it's a killer opportunity to be out. We have more people walk through our doors because they were just out playing in the park and they overheard the music and they wandered over and heard the message and they loved it. And so really cool opportunity. So leverage what you have, what you can. But yeah, that's kind of how we approach things in the summer months.
Very cool. Pastor Matt Wolf, do you guys ever take a bye week from church?
No, we, like Ryan, the Sunday after Christmas Eve, we do an online only service. So I've said the thing about habits. I want people even that Sunday after, which is like the lowest attended Sunday of the year, every church in the world. No senior pastor preaches it. They joke around and call it Youth Pastor Sunday. And I'm like, nobody's going to be there. We can't get enough volunteers. So we do online on service, but I still want to keep the habit. I'm like, hey, you can still sit at home and watch this short service. We do like a 25-minute service with your family that day and then get refreshed for the next week. But we don't take days off. I know other guys that do. I like to keep that rhythm. Like, I'm a habit guy. So I'm like, why would we, disrupt that for the summer just because some people are going to be gone? Like, that Sunday around 4th of July is always one of the lowest attended of the year. We're still going to do something. We're still going to have something going on for the people that are here.
Yeah. Pastor Drew, do you guys take a Sunday off?
No, we don't. I heard a long time ago that actually Memorial Day, 4th of July, and Labor Day are good opportunities to reach people, because people are typically, if you're coming in to visit family, you're doing it over a holiday weekend. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, when they move, they're moving in the summer. So they're coming to look at homes and things over like Memorial Day weekend or 4th of July weekend, Labor Day weekend. So we'll obviously, attendance is down for sure because people are out, vacationing and that kind of thing. But, we want to keep open because that's an opportunity for someone who's in town, or, every summer we've got people who are like, hey, we're camping up in Evergreen and we saw you guys online. So we came down and so we've always got guests on those weekends, and it's just an opportunity to meet family members. And, oh yeah, my niece has been telling me so much about your church. I can't wait to come check it out. And so for us, it's an opportunity to meet new people, to minister to families that we don't get to know. And also just to be, we'll have people for sure that come and go, hey, my church is closed 4th of July. So we're looking to worship. Hey, we want to come with you guys. So yeah, we definitely are of the mindset, keep the doors open. We tell our church, hey, if you're out of town on vacation, tune in online, watch online, join us online still, be a part of the family. But we want to keep the doors open for sure.
No, absolutely. So when I moved to Colorado, I coached basketball. I came from North Carolina. About an inch of snow out there cancels everything.
Mhm.
Even if it's threatened like 4 days out, they're like, cancel everything this weekend. There's a chance of snow, even though it's 75 today. So when I moved out here, I talked to our athletic director, go, hey, what do we do in the event of snow? He goes, leave earlier.
Right.
Colorado.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
like with weather in Colorado is an issue. Like, do you guys cancel for too much snow, too much sun? Like, what's the deal, Ryan?
Yeah, I may not be the best one to talk about this. I grew up in Gunnison, so like right on the western slope. I mean, Gunnison has like state record low temperatures. You know, I mean, just it would dump and dump and dump with snow. And so, you know, the way I grew up is like, okay, yeah, you're right. Just you leave earlier. Obviously, you know, the mountain towns like that, they have the equipment that to really be able to handle that a lot better than, you know, maybe some other towns do or whatever. But yeah, if you're in Colorado, you should just expect there's going to be bad weather. We had someone online say, do you not, you know, the schools were closed. Do you not love people well? You're not going to close. I was like, you know, because we love people well, we're not going to close. Like we're going to be there. It's a little bit of snow. Slow down. You all have 4-wheel drive vehicles. If you don't, you just moved here from the flatlands and you'll figure it out. Right. But like, come on, it's Colorado. Yeah, we're not canceling for snow.
Your non 4-wheel drive vehicle in the mountains.
That's right. I'm like, we're not closing for snow. We're definitely not closing for rain. The schools now, they'll close if it's too cold. And I get it has to do with, you know, okay, it's going to freeze. Buses. What's going to freeze whatever snow and school buses. I get it. It's not that bad. Like you can make it. You'll drive to the store to get Twinkies and, you know, donuts or whatever.
Yeah, the liquor store never closes.
The liquor store is not closed. You're going there. You get your butt to church. It's Colorado. Come on,
Reverend.
Pastor Matt Wolf, if you guys, what's your weather policy with keeping church open?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't think we've ever closed for snow. We've always said, like, if it's like absolutely blizzard, 8 feet of snow, I'm still going to show up. And so is my worship pastor. And the two of us will run an online service. And anyone who shows up can join us. If not, you can watch from home. I was a pastor in Nebraska for 5 years. And I had a woman, I think when we left, I think she was like 92. And she was there every Sunday. She drove half hour on the gravel roads. And people were like concerned, oh, it's a snow day. We've got to cancel it for her. And I'm like, she's going to drive to the store and she's going to be there anyway. Like we'll tell her, you know, stay home if you want, but she'll still be there. So like, we actually need to keep it open for her so she doesn't drive half hour in, you know, so I feel like she should set an example for the rest of us, because what I've heard, like nationwide, if it's a rainy Sunday, 10% drop in attendance.
So, Pastor Drew, have you ever canceled church because it's too much sun out there? Like, this is a really nice day. We should really just give everybody, hey, let's go to the park and play some flag football.
You know, what's so weird about our part of the city is, man, and I don't know, I think it's the grid, but we have power outages all the time. We have internet issues all the time. So we have had those days where you show up at the church Sunday morning and power's out or the internet's down. We're like, let's just go outside and do church on Sunday. And by the time you get everything ready to go outside, it comes back on. But no, my philosophy is Jesus never takes a day off, and we're trying to be like Jesus. So we need to work on Sundays too, you know, and keep the church open for people to come and grow in their faith, you know. So now we stay open every Sunday.
No, absolutely. So guys, as you're encouraging other pastors, because like you guys were talking about, like that June drop, as we wrap this up, what would you encourage other pastors, especially maybe younger pastors or new senior pastors, as they're trying to grow their church, like on, you know, the first month of June that they're serving, to go, hey, how do you just keep going? Like, how would you encourage them, Ryan?
Yeah. I think Matt said it earlier, or maybe it was Drew. Like, don't make long-term church decisions, directional decisions based on what you experience. And really, let's be honest, it really starts in May. I mean, you got graduation, you got, you know, Memorial Day. There's a lot going on in May. And so we start seeing a drop off a little bit even in May. And so just know it's a thing. you're not alone. It happens everywhere. So don't, just to, walk yourself away from the ledge. It's going to be okay when you get back to when football's back, the attendance starts to come back a little bit. So it's going to be fine. In addition, because I mentioned earlier, in the summer months, especially like traveling leagues, baseball and stuff, that's all super popular. And we see a lot of those families gone. And I'm like, tournaments every Sunday. I came across something a couple of years ago that I thought was brilliant. I haven't done anything with it, but I think it's great. Instead of just being really frustrated by that, because I tend to be frustrated by it, find ways. There are things. So I came across a thing, I think it was on Amazon. Someone wrote like dugout devos. Maybe buy some copies of that and send it with some of those families and just encourage them. Hey, when you're at the ball field, that's great. Sports are good. I'm not anti-sports. I've coached sports. I've been involved in sports my whole life, but make sure that you're making time, creating time to have spiritual conversations with your team, with your kids, especially if you're a faith-based traveling baseball team that misses every Sunday. So anyway, do some of those things. There are resources that you can get and encourage your people in that way to stay connected in. So,
Pastor Matt Wolf, how would you encourage your fellow pastors over the summer months?
Well, fellow pastors, I would say, look at the numbers. The numbers are always going to be a friend because the truth is your friend. So you should always look at the numbers. And I keep year over year numbers. So like I did that, like Sunday, Memorial Day, I was like, attendance was a little down. But I looked at last year, I was like, we were actually up 30% year over year. And I'm like, that's incredible. Who cares if it's down for this year? That's awesome. So just looking at those, annual, or look at the last 3 or 4 or 5 years and be a little smarter than Drew and pick up on the patterns a little quicker. I love you, man. So that's what I would say. But I would also encourage, like, hey, is there other ways to engage? Like we do some leadership training in the summer and we do that midweek. So that's another point that we can draw people in. And it's not a huge commitment. Like it's a 6-week thing, but we can get leaders engaged. Also, I would say, be okay with them not being there because we can't control it. But also, can you find new ways to engage people? Even just sending a text. Hey, how you doing? What's going on? Lean into being a pastor to people because they still have junk that comes up in the summer, even if they're not there.
Yeah.
And then if I could give some encouragement to the families that are listening to this and the individuals is one, never miss a Sunday. Even if you have to be gone, you can go find a church wherever you're at.
Yeah.
Like you're in, everywhere there's churches, national parks, there's worship services you can find on Sundays. Even if you're camping in Yellowstone, you can find a church service. And dads, especially, what message is that going to send to your kids? Like, it doesn't matter what we're going to do. We're going to worship. Or you pull up your live stream for your service. You can watch Arise Church Denver. Like you can watch Forefront, Catalyst. We're going to have a stream for you. Stream it with your family when you're out camping. Stream it in the bullpen, maybe. Like if you're there, stream it, and then people around you are going to hear it, and you're like, what are you watching? Great conversation come out of that. And then, just the sports thing. Like I am actually very firm about like go to church, skip your practice or your game. You can find if your church can't do it, like so go to the 9 a.m. for us. Go to the 9 a.m. and then you can do anything later in the day, maybe if you have to do that. Skip your 9 a.m. Tell your coach, I'm not going to play my kids on Sunday morning during worship. And if you're going to keep scheduling it, my kid's not going to play. Mm-hmm. And when your family and your kids take a stand like that, what is that going to teach them? Yep. Like you're going to make a way bigger impact in your kids' lives than them having one more game or one more practice in teamwork. Like I'm all for teamwork too. My kids are in game, in all sorts of sports and stuff, but they can learn teamwork over the long haul and all the lessons with that. But man, that lesson they're going to learn when they skip that game, that tournament, whatever, because of the time frame of it, man, is that going to send a message to your kid?
Yep.
Absolutely. Yep. Pastor Drew, what would you encourage pastors that couldn't figure it out after the first 5 Junes?
Yeah. 2 things. First, for pastors, if you take Mondays as your off day, don't do it during the summer. Take Fridays off instead, because you're just going to be miserable on Monday. So go in, work on your sermon, work hard on Monday, connect with people, have lunches, go out to coffee, work, get busy on Monday, because that Monday blues is real. Having those Monday blues. So if that's your routine, your rhythm, change it. 2, for families, dads, you set the tone. Yep. So dads, if you show your kids that it's okay to camp 3 weeks a month, or you show your kids it's okay to skip church when it's raining or whatever the reason is, right? You're showing your kids that that's okay, and it's going to influence their rhythms too. Right. So dads set the tone. Dads, if you're out in town, when we go on vacation, now you can say, oh, you guys are pastors. I did this before I got into ministry. When we're on vacation, we find a church. If I'm in North Carolina, I'm going to find a church. If I'm in Alabama, I'm going to find a church, on Sunday morning and go and worship and show my kids that when they get older, this is that important for them. So, I think it's a good topic. Summer, change your rhythms, let them flow, but still keep Jesus first.
Drew, are you going to Alabama in the summer on vacation?
I know it's a bad example.
Okay. I'm just wondering. I'm worried about it.
I'm only in Alabama like in March, driving to the Gulf. So yeah,
he's working on a series on hell, and so. So, but if you have questions, thoughts, you're a pastor. It's like part of it's just important to probably be connected, like you guys, like you got your Catalyst group, like be connected with other pastors, especially over the summer when you're wondering what's going on, especially new to it. If you want to get connected, reach out, Rob at Simpler. That's SYMPLER.com. Love to get you connected, or leave a comment wherever you're watching it. Love to hear from you. Love to hear your thoughts. So thanks for watching. It's what your pastor really thinks about topics of faith, culture, theology, and more. Now we're doing like logistics at church. How cool is that, right? So thank you guys.